Okay, I've stopped transcription. And let me share my screen. Okay. So, just quick reminder, I can't see your comments. So if you would like to ask about something, please unmute yourself. Okay, as I said, today we will talk about single page and multi-page application a little bit. We will create our React router components, and we discuss about some specific things related to React router. And the first, single page application. So let's take a look at the picture. So what we are seeing here, the abbreviation of multi-page application, and we see how it works, or how it works itself. So multi-page application. This is a complex website. To put it more simply, it is a traditional web page application, and a traditional web page application that reloads the entire page whenever the user interacts with the website. Each time that the data is exchanged, the application makes a request from the server to display different information in the browser. The main reason why it differs so much from single page application, it's multi-page application takes time to execute the information exchanges, meaning that the user experience can be harmed if the server connected slowly or the internet connection is poor. If you want to see so an example of multi-page application, you might maybe hear about Amazon or eBay or every other traditional website. You will notice that at the time you will press at the website, you're being redirected to another page, like on this example, right? So it means that after each clicking, if you have, for example, navigation menu where you will see home, about us, some links to some products and contact, something like this. If you click in from these pages where you have the standard content, decided this is navigation, you choose and go to the page with contact about the company, you will see that you will get the whole information about this page and the page will be recreated from the scratch, and the data will be differences. So it means that when you're going through one page to another, the content will be get it once again, but not like only one part will change like in a single page application. So if we will talk about single page application, single page application only consists of one single page. Basically, when the user is surfing the website, mostly whenever he chooses the press, he remains the same platform. What single page applications are so great about is that the page doesn't reload during its use and doesn't rely on navigation through different websites. If you have been on platform like Facebook, Gmail, Twitter, GitHub, and so on, you have already met the best example of single page application. It is once and its greatest feature when the page loads, only that data is sent back and forth, and the website executed everything within itself rather than going through servers every time. Also, just for information, there are hybrids of multi-page and single-page application. They might be combined. In the hybrid application, each page has to be compiled and could share some resources. Every page has own JS routine, like wizards of some components. Data is loaded both during page load and Ajax, usually. So as you could see on an example, single page application means if you would like to navigate from one page to another, then only appropriate content will be rendered. So if this is a common part, which is purple here, only the changed part will be re-rendered once again, right? And here the same. It means that maybe advertisement was changed or some pictures. So that's why single page application is more, let's say, modern also. There are some advantages and disadvantages of single page application. For a single page application, so when the single application is using, right? So ideally, for a company with a single product to get real-time experience without page refresh. And actually, React is an example of single page application. So now let's talk about internal state. While single page application implements a vary, most really of the same browser behavior and native APIs to enable to core functionality. Understanding this is keys to knowing how single page application works. That's why we will talk about the internal state. Single page application can use state from an external sources, for example, URL location, or track state internally. These pictures and the next information, let's say, we will discuss about internal state, and we will talk about location-based state. Internal state single page application are limited because there is only one entry. A single entry, single entry means that you always start at the root when you enter the application. So if you start in here and you would like to navigate to another page, you click in on something in here, for example, on a button, and you're going here. When you navigate within an internal state application, there is no external representation. If you want to share some content, that other person loading the application will start at the root. So you have to we have to continue, right? So when we start from the root, we navigate to another updated location once again. And if your shared link loads application to someone, to your friend or something like this, they are started from the root page again. That's the unique behavior of single page application. Then with location-based single page application, you can share a link and B, confirm that anyone optional that link. Sorry. So as you see here, the main difference is that if you are sharing the link to external source to some content, this link navigate your friend to the content which you would like to show them, right? So when you're sharing the link and be confirmed that anyone opening that link will see the same thing as you, because the location is always updating as you navigate. So assuming that the same authorization to view the content. Okay, what about, let's take a look at the location example, right? While the URL in the address bar is what users see and interact with, single page application use window location. This always you to interact with the different parts of the URL without having to parse it yourself. So here we see that our protocol in location, this is window location. Our protocol based on the protocol key, host name, this is example.com, then path name 1, and we have some filter search navigation. This is search. This is question mark, and after question mark we are applying some filters here. In our example, this is a key with a value. Usually, it might be, name and, for example, Kate, and you will see information filtered by the field name where the value is Kate, and hash trending. So only 3 of the location objects properties are important for a single page application. This is a path name, hash, and search, commonly called a query string. This is a query string once again. With single page application, navigation to any location outside of the application is performed regularly, and click by and hover and let the browser handle it. So the host name and protocol can be ignored. The path name is typically the most important of these 3 properties, because it is the one used for determine what content to render. The search and hash are more useful for providing additional data. For example, inner URL one key, one question mark key equal value, the one, this is a path, would especially that let's say, that one might provide us for some images, right, or some information. So that the one page should be, so once again, the one path would specify then, and one page should be rendered with the question mark key equal value. Search specifies the type of specifies the type of information which is equal value, and that should be rendered within the one page. So that's all about window location. And let's go take a look closer to example. Let's try to read our React.js router. I will take a look at the chat. Okay, so this is React application which was created from scratch, actually just using npx command create React app. And let's add here a folder component. So component, yeah. And let's add a bit more. Okay, so and let's add some additional pages for our application. So as usual, in index.js, we have some comments. I will remove them. In public, we have index.html. I will remove the unused information too. I will leave it here, no script section, and in application.js. Okay, so I need to install dependencies first. npm run. Need to check the command and start. Yes, npm start. Let's check that everything's working. Yeah, and right now go back. Maybe I will, not maybe, I will remove this, but a bit later, okay? So let's do our routing component with some simple, very simple application, and let's add some new pages here. Let's call them home and contact, okay? Give me a second. File create home.js, and let's add a file contact, right? Contact.js. Okay, I think it will be enough, or maybe one more. Okay, let's add one more, maybe about JS. Okay, that's enough, definitely. So in home application, I will add very simple information. I will import React. React from React, and just add component function home, and here return home page. Okay, and export, right? We need to export it. Export default home. Okay, so contact. Pretty similar. Okay, import. So React. Oh no, let's copy this. I'm a lazy person. Contact. And whole contact page. And maybe, it's okay. Okay, just we will see the notification that in each pages that pages was changed. And about, no. And here, about page. About page. Okay, we've created, and let's do next. So we right now need to create router for all these pages, right? And in order to this, we React router is help us, right? React router is a standard library. So first, do you remember that React, this is a library, right? This is not a framework as Angular, just a quick reminder about it. Angular, this is just a library. And the main differences between frameworks, that in frameworks, everything is included, let's say like this. So the tests included, some framework for tests created. The framework has his own structure usually, and you can create there some components. I'm talking about more difficult structures, but library not has such difficult structure, has no any specific included components like router or some framework or some tests. So for React, we should include this everything depending on our needs or needs project, right? Project needs. So usually, if you need router, many of us using React router. This is a standard library for routing in React. It enables the navigation among views of various components in React application, allows changing the browser URL, and keeps the UI in synchronization with the URL. So we're trying right now, we will try to create React router in order to understand how React, we will create a more simple React application in order to understand how a React router works. The application will contain 3 components: home component, contact component, and about component. We will use React router to navigate between these components. So what we should do right now, right? We've installed the application, and I will install also library with React routing. EPAM install minus save, and it's put us to dependencies section in packages soon. React router /dom. Oh, mistake. Okay, so we will wait a bit. Okay, after installing React router DOM, we will add few React components to our application, and quick summary, brief summary what we will add. So the main components of React router which we will use, this is a browser router. browser router is a router implementation that uses the HTML5 history API, push state, replace state, and the pop state event in order to keep our application in order to synchronize our UI with URL. It is the parent component that is used to store all the other components. Then we will use routers. It is a new, So I will add a comment here. No, not like this. Go to the app application. So once again, browser router. Then we will add routers. It's a new component introduced in the V6 and upgraded the component in V6. I'm talking about version 6 version, right? And the upgraded of the components, the main advantages of routes or switch. We will not work with a switch, but we will discuss it a bit later. The main differences between routes and switch are relative S and S. And routes are chosen based on the best match inside of being traversed in order. So then we will talk about route. We will use route. Route is a conditionally shown component that renders some UI when its path matches the current URL. And link component is used to create links to different routes and implement navigation around the application. It works like HTML anchor tag. If you forgot what is it, I'm talking about simple applicant with a href. Like this, right? But we will use link. The working is pretty similar. So now let's add some components to our code here. So this is base router, right? And we will add this as router. And then we will add a router or routes, sorry. Routes, route, and link. We will use them, route. Seems like I have an issue. Okay, everything's okay. So the browser, just pay attention that I use the router just for simplifying for me, okay? We might use browser router, but I just wanted to use a router. So using React router. To use React router, let's create a few components in the React application. Then we Sorry. We've created these components. I'm talking about home, contact, and about, but let's import them. Import home from from home, and then we will add about, and we will contact. Okay, we have added them. So right now we will include React Router component to the application. And here, just let's remove this. We don't need this anymore. And we add router. Okay, we use this, right? Browser router. And we just check that it's working. Class name. Okay, should we have here some styles? Yes, we have text elegant center and base page. Start, React start. Let's check what is going here. Yeah, everything's working, right? Here we have some invalid value from properties, but why? Because we don't import it, correct? So import up from like this, and now it should be okay. No. Up. Let's use it like this. Style. Because application is already using, and here like this. Now it should be okay. Right, without errors. But okay, seems like okay, it should use like this because it's the changes isn't applied. Yeah, like this. And we don't need this anymore. Yeah, now it's working correctly. So it's done. Then let's add, let's create, like list of our links, right? Okay, so let's create just some list. And here we will put 3 navigation, right? We need 3 pages. So we have home, we have contact, and we have about us usually. Usually this page is calling like this. Okay. Oh, almost fine. So let's make some changes, just not wasting some time. Okay, we've created list. It should be a ligand by the left side. So, and right now, let's do next. We should, so that's this, it's just routing without any navigation, right? Should we add something? Yes, the answer is yes. And we will add link. So we've talked about link just a little bit. That yes. So link let us create link to our components. Link component used to uses the two properties to describe the location where the links should navigate to. So it means here we should put something, right? So home, this is usually just home, and this is base URL. That means that we don't need any we don't need to change our URL. Then let me copy this to contact. We should go, we usually in the browser, right? So here, this is a home page. Usually you change in just contact like this, and you should go to another page, right? And about the same, but we don't change our state, so we are going to do this. So contact, and here we will put contact and about us. Here about. Okay, done. Quick note about links. You know, just a bit more just a bit more information about link. So usually link provides declarative accessibility navigation around your application. Link has parameter 2, so it might be string or object. A string representation of the link location created by concatenating the location path name, search, and hash properties. If you use object instead of string, then object that can have any of the following properties. This is a path name, search, hash, and state. And then it also might be function. For instead of string object, it might be also function, 2 parameters. So function, so it means that you might, let's see a bit examples. So this is a string. Then we will create object. So path name, I've talked path name. So path name in this case should be just slash. Search, it might be search. Let's imagine that we would like to search something, and maybe let's imagine that we try to filter by name, and name will be Kate. Hash, just like this. Oh, sorry. So will I find it? No. No, not like this. Do I have? Yes, I have this. So the hash and state. This is just an example for you. And in this state might be anything, right? So just here, so for example, if we will have any button which is let's imagine that we have a functionality on our page. When we click on a button, might appear some model, right? And for example, we have is open. True. We might change some state like this. So that's all. So about function. Function here I will try to provide you an example. For it might be function to which current location is passed as an argument and which should return location representation as a string or as an object. So it means that we have a location, right? Like this, and should return location representation of string or an object. So like example. So maybe location, comma, path name. Yeah, path name without this, and so about, and here should be like this. Yeah, here is correct. So this is one example, or it might be with another, or like how to. Okay, it might be like this, like it might be. So this is an object. Right now I will create a string and location. Excuse me. Sorry for this. So location dot path name. Yeah, something like this. And you might put here some queries for name, the name key, like this. But this is just example, okay? And we will use, I will just comment it here. And use only simple. Okay, we don't need any complicated cases. Just about. I will use without this. Okay. So also, what it might be here. Also, you might see the replace like this. Replace. This is a Boolean number. When true, clicking the link will replace the current entry in the history stack instead of adding a new one. In a ref, this is a function. Here should be function like inner ref, and error function. And you might do something here, but in a React Router 5 version of 5, if you're using React 16, you should not need this property, because we forward the ref to the underlying anchor link. I'm talking about a tag. Use a normal ref instead, and so I remember also about components. No, it's called component, React component, how it looks like. like component, and you might provide here some name of, in here the name of component. So that's how you will use it. So right now, let's continue with our application. I've added everything needed here, but here I just better to change for a simple version, okay? Okay. Let's take a look what will happen here. Run contact, and you could see that our URL is changing, right? Home, contact, and about us. But the pages not changing. Why? Because we just provide the link, right? But we don't change nothing. Now run our after we run in our application. We need to use route component. So because we changing our URL, the component route will now help us to establish the link between components UI and the URL. To include routes, we need to include, in order to include route to the application, we should add a code, right? Like let me think. Like I put it here, route, and here we will add exact path, which we're using here. Okay, I will leave it right now here, but we should change it actually. Element, and here we provide our component home. Okay, like this, and I will copy paste it. It's actually not so router, it's actually not really correct, but okay. So we should add route, which will be in the same, which should be looks like this, but I just don't want to continue because it's incorrect. I will explain you a little bit. And this component, if we, help us to navigate correctly, right? Changing our information about UI and URL. So let me just first explain you what all these parameters means, and then we will continue, okay? So exact. It is used to match the exact value with the URL. For example, exact pass about pass. This is like home page, right? But okay, I will create. It's bad. It's not the correct place. We should cover it in rows. In rows. In order to render this the single component, we should wrap all this route into the routes component. But right now, I would like just show you the differences, right? And here it should be about, and here about page component. I might just actually use like this. Okay. So for example, if the path will be like path about, the pass will only render the component if it is exactly match the pass, but if we remove exact from the syntax, then your UI will still be rendered using if the structure is like about, okay, let's be 10. So then the pass, about this. Pass specifies a pass name, as you might guess. Pass name we assign to our component, and element, it refers to the component which will render or on matching the pass. So by default, roads are inclusive, which means more than one road component can match the URL pass and render at the same time. If we want to render a single component, we need to use roads. So right now, let's use roads. How? So I think it will be better to put them here. Roads, like this. So roads, so as I said, to render single component, we should wrap our road into roads, like this. I will remove it, create more beauty, and easily to read. And so here remove about, and here it should be contact, and here contact. Yeah. So switch groups together several roads, iterates over them and find the first one that match the path. There be the corresponding component to the path is recommended. After rendering all component, we see that our application might change the state. So here about page, right? And let's go to the home page, contact, about us. So right now we are easily include our React router to our project, and we know how to change URL and synchronize our UI component, UI view with our URL. So this is the easy methods how you can add navigation to your application. So sorry. And right now, do you have any questions, Mikita? Hello. Oh, sorry, Mikhail. So maybe you have any questions, or maybe Mikhail might add something interesting, because I really use React router from scratch. I've you know, my experience not so big, as I told you many times before. Actually, this was my first time when I write router from scratch. I just used them partially, changing some components. Maybe Mikhail might say something interesting for you.
No, the essential part was demonstrated as well. That's good.
So, okay, we did this part. And right now, let's talk about React router. So actually, the React router, actually, let's go. Is it working here? No. React router GitHub. This is official's website, actually. And the latest version is 6. You might see here tutorial. They guide you from how to read, how to create your React Router, your application with React Router. They provide you more, it was a quick start, but here you could see a lot of other explanation and a lot of other using properties for link, for browser router. We will talk about it a bit later, but here we might see more examples. So I'm not sure. Usually for React Router, using this React Router tutorial application, maybe there is some other libraries. I think this is definitely most popular in official. Mikhail? It was a question, sorry, it was a question for you. Maybe you know something about other React Router application or libraries.
No, I was using this one. And
okay.
I think it's we don't need to discover something else.
Yeah, this library.
This official, and if we want to create routes, we use React Router, or if we want to easily turn on SSR, we look at Next.js. But if we want to, it's simplest and popular way is React Router.
Okay, so I can't find actually the official source to GitHub. Oh, sorry. This was an official. Okay, so right now we could see that the latest version is a 6.3. I saw somewhere. I saw it. Okay.
Yeah, 6.3.
Yeah, 6.3, the latest release. Here the releases latest marked as 5 version, but maybe it's.
I think it's
incorrect. It should be actually. Maybe they updated 5.3 version. But Pine 4, yeah, it seems like they have some additions to the previous releases, but the latest 6.3. So as you see, a lot of stars here, actually 47,000 stars, it's pretty good result. There are no more almost issues. They have some of them, but it's not more than 100, and actually in my experience it's really good result. So I think this library is developing really actively, and the bugs might fix this really active. So 11 days, 7 Aprils, seems like they are trying to filter them and decide what is important to fix. But we will talk a bit about router types. There are a few types of router depending on that which type of router they are using. So the browser router is a recommended interface for routing React Router in a web browser. Browser router stores the current location in the browser's address bar using clean URLs and navigate using the browser's built-in history stack. About hash router is used in web browser when the URL shouldn't be sent to the server from some reason. This might happen in some shared hosting scenarios where you do not have full control over the server. In this situation, hash router makes it possible to store the current location in the hash position of the current URL, so it is never sent to the server. Then history. Okay, so also, yeah, there is a history router. So this is right now unstable option. The history router, actually, you cannot just type like history router. Sorry, it seems like some issue with the IDE. So history router, it like you might use it unstable history router. But actually it should be here. No, not like here, not like here. The stable history router. Oh, yeah. And you might. So what this do takes an instance of the history library as properties, and allows you to use the instance is in not React context or as a global variable. Then hash router we've discussed right now, memory router. So memory router, give me navigate to correct slide. Okay, memory router. Memory router stores its location internally in an array. Unlike browser history and hash history, it isn't tied to an external source like the history taken in browser. This makes it ideal for scenario when you need complete control over the history stack, like testing. So, and navigate router is recommended interface for running React router in a React Native application. Yeah, you just better might use it here, native router. And static router is used to render a React router web application in Node. Provides the current location via the location properties. So then, yeah, here the example of browser router. We just use them in our application. You just provide to browser router some routes, and they tie your UI with URL. And when you will navigate from one component to another, they will change appropriate view. Okay, then let's talk about switch. So switch renders the first child route or redirect that matches the location. How is this different than just using a bunch of routes? Switch is unique in that it renders a route exclusively. In contracts, every route that matches the location renders inclusively. So let's consider that we have these routes. If the URL is above, then if our URL is above, then the above, user, and no match will all render because they all match the path. This is by design, allowing us to compose rows into our application in many ways, like sidebars or sidebars and breadcrumbs, bootstrap tables, and etc. Occasionally, however, we want to pick our one road to render, and we so lost a bit thread. So if we So occasionally, however, we want to pick only one road to render. If we're at above here, we don't want to also match user or show our 404 page. Here's how we do it in a switch. Like in these cases, right? So using switch, if we so if we're at above page, switch will still look will start look for a matching road path about will match the switch, will stop looking for matches and render about. Similarly, if we're at similarly, if we are at user, some specific user, the user will render. This is also useful for animated transitions since the matches road is rendered at the same position as the previous one. Inside of switch, so we might use road. Yeah, so that's all about switch. Then we will talk about navigation link and link. Let's just imagine, not imagine. Let's just remember that we used in our routers in browser a router link first, and link just you might notice that the so link just navigate us to from one to another, right? So from one location to another, just changing a URL. What is maybe what about navigation link? I'm just quickly trying to find my notes about navlink. So a navlink is a special kind of link that knows whether or not it is active. This is useful when building a navigation menu such as breadcrumbs or a set of tabs where you'd like to show which of them is currently selected. It also provides useful context for assistive technology like screen readers. By default, an active class is added to a navigation link, navlink, component when it is active. This provides the same simple style mechanism for most users who are updated from the version 5. But one differences in other versions of 6 that you just point attention that this version of active class name and active style So these two properties will be removed from nav link properties in version 6, more than 6, at least in 6.0.0, you might face with some issues. So, and what else? With router. With router, you can get access to the history. Using with router, you can get access to the history objects property and the closest routers match via the with router high order component. With router, we'll pass update match location and history properties to the wrapped component whenever it render. Important note that with router doesn't subscribe to location changes with React Redux content, doesn't state changes. Instead, we render after location changes, propagate out from the route component. This means that with router doesn't render on route transition unless its parent component re-renders. So that's all about React Router. And yes, let's talk about a bit React hooks. I will just provide you some common information, okay? And you will read on website by yourself and see their really beautiful, nice examples. React Router ships with a few hooks that lets you access the state of the router and perform navigation from inside your component. React Router hooks. So not like this. React hooks, you should remember, right, that they appears in React in 16.8. So it means that you might not use with oldest version with React Router hooks. Okay, use history. What is doing? The use history hook gives you access to history instance that you might use to navigate. You might just push there some additional. So for example, if you would like to click on some button and go to another page, so if we from home page clicking by button go to contact, you would like to navigate to contact page, you just create some on click event and using history hook, just push there your link and not link URL to history. So for example, history.push /contact, and you will be on the correct pages. Use location. The use location hook returns a location object that represents the current URL. You can think about it like a use state that returns a new location whenever the URL changes. This could be really useful, for example, in a situation where you would like to trigger a new page view event using your web analytics tool whenever a new page loads, as in a let me think. So if you're just changing between few pages, you might use page view and provide there some you might add maybe I can't create actually some really good example. Mikhail, maybe you might just in a few words describe some example. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, you have tons of comments. Okay, let me finish and we will see. About use params. Use params returns an object of key value pairs of URL parameters. And about use route match, hook attempt to match the current URL in the same way that route. It's mostly useful to getting access to match data without actually rendering a route. Okay, so that's it for today. I didn't provide you any examples about React hooks, but I think you know what, this website, as I remember, I just get an information from here, and hooks. Yeah, hooks you could see here, and use history. Not here. Okay, I will provide you some links with the example for these hooks. You might see other hooks which for React Router, but use hook in the other 4 examples I will provide you, okay? Okay, I stop sharing the screen, stop recording, and